live. So it's me, Prash K, coming at you from London on a generally pleasant post-summer solstice evening. I want to share three insights or lessons and insights, three that I picked up over this weekend just gone by. Now listen, I know most of us would love to fill our weekends with fun stuff, and we all try to. I hope that you did too. In fact, what is it that you tuned into this weekend for yourself? And here's a question for you. Are you happy doing the same kind of stuff that you do every weekend? Does that satisfy you? Is that pleasing to you? Or are you one of those people that really like constant change? You like something different, fresh, challenging, enriching, non-boring. Every single weekend you need something different, like a big thrill. Do you chase the thrill, or do you chase the safety and comfort of things that you already know and like? So here's what I did, and I want to share in this way. The first lesson was to go to an event, go to a place and an event that I wouldn't normally go to, and that happened on Friday night. So on Friday night, I wanted to go. Now, I love gospel music. Some of you may know that. I'm a big fan. I'm a musician and a performer, singer. So obviously I love music, and I love many genres, and I love devotional, spiritual music. It really lifts my soul. So as well as my love for kirtan, chanting, Vedic mantras, ancient Eastern Indian music influences, I love gospel. And so Friday night, there was a worship night in Hammersmith in London, for those of you who've been to Hammersmith. It was in a huge church, St. Paul's Church. It was a beautiful church. There were over 650 people. I've never been to an event like that in one space with 600 plus people standing and listening to gospel music. And I reckon that I was the only Indian guy there. I think I was the only Indian guy there. Sorry, I'm kind of doing my walk and I'm talking at the same time. I'm getting my steps in, so apologies. So I think I was the only Indian guy there, but it was a room full of people of different ages, backgrounds, different races, I think except Indian. Not that it matters, but it's really good because it stretches you a little bit. It's like, sometimes when we are the different color out, even psychologically, it plays on us, and it shouldn't do, but it does because of our bodily conditioning, right? So that was one nice little distinction that I picked up, that it's okay to be different. It's okay to stand out in a crowd. It's okay to be the darker guy or the browner guy or gal. It doesn't matter, because it's who you are and who you're showing up as, not the color of the skin or the race or the gender, right? It's who you're being. So I loved it. I absolutely loved the night. It was by far one of the most memorable live music events I've attended in my life, because the music, the power, the devotion, the positivity in an alcohol-free, sober environment where people are there for worship in their own way, and it was gorgeous. And so that first lesson that I picked up was it's okay to be different in a crowd. It's okay to feel like you're the odd one out. That's okay. Own it. Own it. Don't moan about it. Own it. Don't moan about it. Own it if you're different. If you feel different, own it. That's okay. And while also picking up that lesson, I felt that it was okay to be in a huge crowd. And I went by myself, by the way. And that second lesson was it's okay to go to a concert by yourself and feel really happy and feel okay with that. That's okay. Okay, the second lesson of the weekend was this insight is I attended a sober party on Saturday night, arranged by somebody I know, and these parties tend to have 300, 400, 500 people. They're sober raves. It was in the early evening. They had vegan food, alcohol-free shots and cacao and smoothies and stuff. It was a nice setup. Now, the lesson I learned there was is that you may not necessarily like the music that's there, but it's great to dance. So I really got into my dancing vibe. Initially, the music wasn't my thing, but I just went with the dance. What the coaching I gave to myself, and I offer this to you as an insight, is sometimes we may not want to do something, but when we're in a place, and I didn't go alone on this one, but when we're in a place and maybe there's something not to our liking, the food or the music, if there is a way we can coach ourselves in being okay with it and see it as a challenge, it can be very beneficial. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to consider that the music is actually cleansing, because it's an alcohol-free place, it's a sober rave, the energy was kind of good, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go into a state here where I'm going to consider that the movements that my body make are clearing, energetically clearing whatever doesn't serve me. And that's the power of intent. I don't care whether you're religious, spiritual or not. The power of intent is undeniable. We can all use the power of intent in order to bring about a more conducive physical, mental, emotional, and ultimately a spiritual state. So I decided in that time to put my intentionality to use by choosing to dance to stuff that I don't normally dance to. And it was is a genre that I'm not into so much. It's a little bit techno-like. I'm not a fan of techno. I'm not a fan of hard house. Doesn't matter. I'm not a big fan of reggae either, for that matter. But that's what was served up. I said, you know what? Every move, every shake, I'm going to release energy that doesn't serve. And I really went into my own space and did that. And it was great. I actually had a great time. And then when they did play some stuff I liked, it was amazing. I think I must have burnt like 400 calories just by dancing. Anyway, it was really good. The third lesson over the weekend that I learned was on Sunday. And that lesson was I went to another event. It was a whole weekend of event going. This was a different kind of event. It was a daytime party. Again, mostly sober party with really nice, high energy kind of people. It was like a conscious day retreat. But it wasn't a retreat, it was a party. So it was live music and amazing bands coming out from around the world. Those of you who know Mobius Loop, Yaima from the States, the Kaya Project, big shout out. These are artists in the conscious music space. That is, these are people who are helping people to awaken their consciousness. They're not devotional artists, they're not bhakti artists, but they're playing their own part in their own way of raising the consciousness and the vibration of individuals, of people around the world. And their music is wonderful. But here's what happened. I felt alone. I didn't want to be, sorry, let me rephrase. I felt like being alone. That is to say, I was surrounded by 400 people, 500 people, but I didn't really feel the desire to jam and talk. Maybe because I talked out the day before at the Sober Rave. And the lesson I learned there is it's okay to be in your own space in a public setting. It's okay to be alone and to spend time in your own space, even there. And so that's what I did. I enjoyed dancing by myself. I enjoyed having some fruits, smoothies and cacao drinks by myself. I enjoyed sitting by myself. And then I enjoyed going out in central London to a park nearby and meditating by myself. And I did all those things. Now, some people may say, why'd you go by yourself? Or why'd you do these things by yourself? But actually, it was a great lesson. I went there thinking I'll meet some friends and we'll have a good time. But actually what happened is, yeah, I met some friends and they were good. They were having a great time, but I didn't really feel the desire to hang. I just didn't really feel it. I felt like being in my own space, but I didn't want to give up on enjoying the music and the stuff that was there. And so I made the best. I basically went on a date with myself. That's essentially what happened. And I'm okay with that. And I guess the invitation I'm sharing with you, the insight I'm sharing with you, and therefore an invitation is, can you be okay going on a date with yourself? Can you be okay being by yourself with yourself? Can you be okay with that? And if you're not, if the answer is no right now, could you learn to be sometimes? Not all the time, but sometimes. Could you learn to be? Because I think there's a great amount of power and empowerment that can come if we can learn to be by ourselves and be happy with that, even in a public setting. Does that make sense? If we can learn to be that way in a public setting and when we're alone in our own space or in nature, there's a certain power that we develop. And there's a certain ability, a siddhi. In Sanskrit, we call it a siddhi, almost like a mystical ability. We learn to develop almost like a superpower that gives us resilience in the face of adversity. And so for me, this whole weekend has been about lessons, but also enjoying and probably burning a very decent amount of calories on the dance floor, even by myself. But it was great. Now here I am, no parties, no going out, and in events, that is, and just being in nature. As you can see, I am here. If you're watching this, or if you're not, you're getting it on the podcast. You get the flavor. You know how I roll with these podcast episodes. Love to keep it real and natural and in the moment. We never script. It's got to be from the heart, and the wisdom needs to flow. So there you go, a little bit of wisdom. I won't say much more, but I leave you with this invitation. How can you take some of these lessons and see how they might serve you in your life or in the lives of your family to help empower you in your own way, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually? That's it from me. Be well. Have a great week or weekend ahead whenever you're catching this. Peace out. Namaste. And as always, check in the podcast, Urban Spirituality, on iTunes, Spotify, all the other free podcasts platforms out there. Go listen, tune in. There's lots of wisdom on the go. I always keep these episodes short, 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes typically, and they're designed to be that way. Although the first earlier episodes are really good conversations. So if you want to dive deeper, go right into those. That's it from me. Peace out.